All right, May, let me start with you. What is your reaction to the interview?
Well, you know, I guess George Stephanopoulos has a right to ask it. It just isn't really newsworthy. The thing that he was trying to do was to say, you know, aren't you a hypocrite because of your status? Because of what your status is, you should think and act a certain way. And I think that that type of identity politics, that type of pigeonholing is super dangerous. It reminds me of when Joe Biden said, if you vote Democrat, then you ain't black, right? It is this, you have a status, therefore you must think a thing. And so I think she used the word shame, and I don't really like that. She must have had the word shame in her mind. But it is minimizing. It is minimizing of women. It is minimizing of victims to say that you can't turn your brain on and pick the president, not your boyfriend, not your priest, but your president that's going to have the best policies for you.
Ameshia?
So I am somebody who lauded Nancy Mace when she came out a few years ago and not only talked about her experience as a rape victim, but also stood against her party, who at the time was pushing some very strict restrictions on abortion rights. And I think that as a rape victim and as someone myself who has been a survivor of sexual violence, that was a very proud moment to see her stand up where most people are silent. But I think that George Stephanopoulos asked the right question. This is a woman who is a rape survivor herself, who is standing by and supporting a man who has over 24 credible sexual assault claims against him for a variety of women. He's someone who's already been found liable for rape. He's someone who, you know, has said grab them by the genitals. He's someone who has this history. And for a woman who is as, you know, vocal about being a rape survivor as her, it is interesting to see her try to juxtapose that with her support. I think George Stephanopoulos asked the right question. I think I was most bothered by the argument from Nancy Mace that because he wasn't criminally convicted, that essentially we should ignore this. Only 6% of rapists will ever spend a night in jail. Less than 1% of those will ever get a felony conviction. And only 3 out of 100 of rapists will ever spend time in prison or have that level of a conviction. So to be quite frank, a criminal conviction does not mean a rape did not occur. And we see time and time again rape victims, many like Nancy Mace, who it happened in their younger years, who spend their lifetime trying to find some level of justice. And for her to stand out and basically create a code of silence for people, which I think is what she did on that show, by endorsing a known sexual violator, is a problem.
Let me play a piece of sound that relates to what you were just talking about there, is the distinction between criminal and civil. This is on number 1.
So is that the distinction you're making? A civil judgment is okay, but a criminal judgment is not?
This is different, and they didn't even input all of the evidence into the civil case either, because some of the information she provided wasn't even accurate or correct. But to sit here and ask me as a rape victim to try to shame me for my political choices is wrong, and I think it's offensive. I mean,
you can repeat that again and again and again.
And I'm going to, because I find it deeply offensive.
May, it seems to me what she's really saying is she doesn't believe E. Jean Carroll, but she isn't quite saying it.
Exactly, right. This isn't about civil versus criminal. This is E. Jean Carroll being a ridiculous person who she does mention as a rape survivor makes her angry because she's clearly doing it for the money, because she goes on TV to say that she's so excited about the money. And Rachel Maddow, how do you want to spend the money? This is somebody who said rape is sexy, you know, somebody who can't remember any of the details of what happened. And in fact, the details that she told to the jury said, we don't actually find those credible. We're going to find different facts and hold him liable based on those different facts. So the whole thing is not really a rallying cry for women in general. It is a rallying cry for leftists against Trump. And so the fact that it doesn't really speak to Nancy Mace is not surprising.
Ameshia, yeah.
When Nancy Mace originally stood out and talked about her rape, she said that the first thing that you hear when you are open about your rape is that people do not believe you. And in that same breath, on George Stephanopoulos' show, she basically alluded to the fact that she did not believe E. Jean Carroll. I think that that's disgusting. And again, as a woman who's also been a sexual violence survivor, this conversation deserves more than someone who is willing to flip-flop, basically, and be absolutely okay with a man who has been credibly charged, not only with being found liable for E. Jean Carroll, but also, again, over 24 women have presented cases against Donald Trump in terms of sexual assault and sexual violence. This is a man who, in his own depositions, arguably talked about his willingness to engage in this way with women. So there is no question as to whether or not he is capable of or even committed these acts. The question is whether Nancy Mace, as a sexual violence survivor, is okay with endorsing him, and she absolutely is. That's a problem.
Mailman, Ameshia Cross. Important discussion and tough one to have. Thank you both very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.